We've got New Dilemma backstage. Do we want to bring them in?
Yes.
Let's bring them in.
First time guests. Let's get acquainted.
Hey, how we doing, guys?
Hi.
Good. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yeah,
we got you, bro.
I can hear you great. That's probably one of the best sounding mics one of our guests have ever used.
Amen.
I try. Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
No, thank you. And thank you for coming down November 16th or coming up November 16th to play with us at our Winter Storm show. So tell us a little bit about New Dilemma. Give you
the story. All right, I'll give you the quick version here. We're going on 8 years. Halloween this year will be 8 years since started New Dilemma. The story goes, I was in a band when I was younger. My daughter was born with spinal muscular atrophy, and we were about to go on tour with Creed at the time and do an arena tour. This is when I was a bit younger. But she was born with a disability and decided it was time to be a dad. That's what needed to happen. So fast forward some years later, I'm a single dad. Her mother got into some bad stuff. It's a whole different story. End up with a single dad, and she was 17 years old at the time, maybe 16, and said, "Dad, why don't you go show the world what you got again? You've been taking care of me for a long time." And I walked out the room that night, and I said to myself out loud, I said, "How am I in this new dilemma all the time of things?" And bam, that was the name and the inspiration behind the band. And most of the lyrics, songs, and stories is our life and the things that we've been through. And we've had a hell of a run, and just, off the charts on the Dirty 30 with you guys for some weeks. And man, we're having a good time and couldn't be more excited about the future at this point, and really excited to get out there with Post Profit and Messer and them guys. It's going to be a great show. So that's where we're at, man. That's the quick synopsis of how this came to be.
So, just recently, I guess it was recently, well, not too recently for you guys, a couple months ago that you guys played the House of Blues in New Orleans.
House of Blues
not New Orleans, in Orlando.
Yes, we played House of Blues Orlando, packed out, man. What a phenomenal night. That was a dream show for me. I played there when I was younger, and it was a bucket list to get back there, and we had a blast, man. The crowd was in it. It was amazing. Love that.
I got to see a New Year's Eve show there. It was Seven Dust, Nonpoint, and Rev Theory a long time ago.
That's a good one.
Probably 2008 or so, but that venue itself is absolutely fantastic. Such a great venue.
Just amazing sound. The crew was great, man. Just an amazing night. We got to play with Soul Switch, which 8 or 9 years ago, when I went back into music, I went to the House of Blues to see one of these Orlando rock shows, and Soul Switch was on that night. So it was so cool to 8 years later be sharing the stage with those guys. It was just a blast.
When you talk about the Orlando rock scene, and we've talked with quite a few bands that are from the Orlando area. Tell us about that, right? I mean, how is that rock scene there in Orlando?
It's good, man, but it's getting harder for the fact of the smaller venues are fading away. Things are becoming more concert venue, less local bands. So I'm going to be honest. If I was a new band trying to cut my teeth right now, it's tougher than it was even 8 years ago for me. And man, it wasn't easy then, right? You got to beat the doors down to get those first shows. So, but overall, the talent that's in Orlando, like, I'm sorry, I feel like we should be another LA or New York as far as that goes.
Nice. So we're to the point now. Run and Hide, you just is at radio right now and doing well. So from that point, where do you guys see yourself with the rest of 2024 and rolling into 2025?
Right now, our main focus is we're actually already writing again. We will have a new single coming out real soon called Spiral. It's on the EP. But that's going to be the next one, probably out on radio and stuff like that. Other than that, we're really just working on new music and exploring opportunities for touring, because we feel like we're at that point where you've sort of broke out of what we call the local scene. We've toured nationally with Cold and, getting out there with these awesome bands with you guys. So touring is really our next focus, because for me, you have to be able to perform and get out there and show that emotion to the crowd to get the full connection. And I think there's a false sense a little bit between record and live. And and I think you need that live experience sometimes. But man, we love to perform, and that's really our next focus is getting out and doing more shows, and our manager's working on stuff and what the next moves are with our next music and all that good stuff. So the behind the scenes stuff is busy on the next moves.
All right. Well, we've got Run and Hide queued up, ready to play. And
Awesome.
Jared, you want to do this?
Yeah. So one of the themes on the show, man, is you can tell us everything or tell us nothing about the video or the meaning of the song.
The meaning of the song, to me, I call this kind of like part 2 of Bury My Demons off of our first record. I mean, these are just things that I really lived through, and like sometimes you have to run and sort of put the demons behind you. They don't go away, but you have to kind of try and move forward and keep seeking. I always call it darkness to light. I always try and build a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel with New Dilemma music. And that's really what it's about is sometimes you have to run away from the demons and really find yourself, and you got to hide away from them and fight for your life and mental health. And it's just, that's really what it's about. It's deep for me, but the guy who shot at Kill Devil Films, Thomas Crane, he's an incredible music video guy.
Absolutely.
And we, since day one, he did Playing Victim, he did Bury My Demons, and we tell him build the story and run with it. We want you to take what you're getting out of it, use your creative stuff, and this Run and Hide's what we came up with this one.
Nice.
All right. Well, here it is. It is New Dilemma. It's Run and Hide, and you're watching the sound. There you have it. New Dilemma, Run and Hide.
Hell yeah.
Great song.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that.
It is, and it's also a great video. Now, sometimes here at the Sound, when we know there's a guest coming on, like that's the first time I've seen that video because I wanted a bit of mystery for the show tonight. And I said earlier about the Outlier video, tell the story.
Yeah.
And you told that story.
I appreciate that, man.
Kill Devil does great work.
Yeah, man. He's amazing.
That was killer, man. I dug it too.
Awesome. That's what we love to hear, man. We've as they all do, man, we put our hearts and souls in this thing, and swing for the fences. If you're gonna swing for the fences.
We've talked about it on the show a few times though, about putting in the effort and the taking it serious, what you put out, your product, right? And you can see that y'all definitely pay attention to detail and went and did it professional, I guess is the best way to put it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. I think we've got to a point in music where if it doesn't look like you care, I don't think anybody else is. And that's not a shot at any other bands, but like just cutting a record for $500 and spending a day on it is not going to get the breakthrough. I mean, there's endless talents out there. Like the talents in music is stupid right now. There's so many great bands, but if you don't take it seriously, run it professionally, and make sure that these things look right, like there's again, you can get on YouTube and find a great video. So you got to make a reason why people want to get to that.
And it's something I say all the time. Like anything you do in this industry has got to be top tier level.
Absolutely.
Because, like you say, if you don't care about your music, why should the fans or anyone in the industry care about your music?
Absolutely.
It's got to be at that level, because you got to look at, local bands, you're battling in the local scene. But that's not your competition. Your competition is the likes of Architects and Shinedown and, Falling in Reverse and stuff. That's the people that you are competing against, not the local scene.
And local bands get caught up in that, unfortunately. It's like we're not battling each other. We're all swinging for the stars. And the one thing I've learned, no path is the same for any band, depending on your team, how you approach it, how everything is different. And people think there's this one defined path, and it's just not true. And before I forget, shout out to our lead guitarist, Zach Robin out there, Roach on the bass, Sean Kimmerling, our drummer, Stephanie Stone handles all our merch stuff. My wife, Cherry, who's also one of the merch girls, our team that makes our world go round, and Paul Crosby Management, and our label Pavement. Can't forget the shout outs. Without all those names, this doesn't happen. So appreciate you guys.
You got to have the team behind you, haven't you? So I've got a question circling back to you being in the industry and then obviously having to go and be a full-time dad. What difference have you found from being in the industry when you were young to how it is now? Because obviously it's changed over the years. How have you found that? I
guess it's such a different mindset I was in both times. honestly, when I was young, I can say it could have been more superficial and I wouldn't have cared. Like, how do I get there? Whatever I need to do to get there. This time, the pride that I take in everything that we do, our words, our stories that are behind this and why we created this. Like, I have such more artistic approach. The industry, though, I mean, as a whole, it's just so drastically different. And I was baptized by fire, to be honest with you. I say that all the time, coming from the way we did it old school to now. But also, just like this, you couldn't get on and have an interview with great people like yourselves and see 200 or 300 people. Because I look at it different. People are like, man, it only got 200 views. And I was like, in my day, to get 200 views, you had to sell 200 tickets. So you might want to think about that. Everything, it's a blessing, it's a curse, but you got to use everything to the best ability to get people to relate. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a connection of my life and stuff people are going through. And for us, man, that's what it's about, the connection. And maybe I can, just like on tour, you have that conversation with that single dad, which almost every show, single dads came up to me. There was a point where I thought, man, I got to be the only single dad in this world. Like, this isn't normal, let alone to a special needs kid. And then you get out on the road and you find out you were never alone. There's so many people. And that's like the most important thing to me. But it's all part of the industry as far as I'm concerned. And I think you can make a far more easier connection now than you could when I was doing it back then.
Well, I mean, everyone starts from zero. Even all the bands that you like that are huge right now, at one point, they started from zero. So I think it's really important that, you know, you invest in yourself as well. I'm curious. I've been talking with a lot of bands recently about radio campaigns, and I'm finding that a lot of artists aren't bothering with it anymore. They are choosing to avoid it because it's so expensive, depending on the kind of radio campaign that you want to go with. And they're just electing to really go that video route in terms of their social media. Do you have an opinion on that in terms of your own band? I mean, what do you think that the right path is? I feel like a lot of bands just aren't.
Yeah, we believe when we had a meeting about that with Paul a couple weeks ago on Spiral, and should we do radio again, or should we do it here or do it there? You know, there's different routes to try and get, you know, over to Octane and these other outlets. But Paul, and, you know, being in Saliva and old school, he sort of has an old school approach, but he believes that and those charts are the visibility. Does he think it's the thing that's going to bust you out of the gate in the grand scheme of things at FM radio? Maybe. I mean, you know what I mean? There's always, like, we call it the lottery ticket. There's always the maybe, but we call it the radio visibility, because everybody checks those charts. Those big bands that everybody sees down that list, their management and everybody on their teams are going through those lists, even the secondary charts. So we believe it's more visibility to the industry than anything. But we do believe it's important to still be a part of FM radio. I mean, it's still pretty strong.
Okay.
No, I agree. And I didn't even think about what you said about other managers, other labels, other looking at these charts and who's on the charts. Oh, I haven't heard of them. Let me go check them out.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I look back at, I don't know, the last year of bands that have tried to, and there's been one that just, they hit it with the right song and it has worked for them. And that was Sleep Theory.
That is so hard to do. You realize that is literally probably one of the single bands out of the decade that is going to have that achievement.
I mean, they had a single and it climbed the charts. It sat there and it sat there. And then all of a sudden they're playing all the big DWP festivals. They're getting on the big tours. They're heading out with Daughtry right now. I mean, it's just like, what did they do? What is different?
Sometimes it just works. You know, their presence is heavy on TikTok. Like it's very difficult as a whole in our life and my personal life to create this huge content every single day for TikTok and Instagram and all these things. We do the best that we can, but I do think I'm still keep our band at a slight disadvantage. That's one thing they did is they had Sleep Theory had videos constantly, like
Mhm.
whether you wanted to or not, you were going to see it. But also what level you're able to create content. I mean, there's so much more that goes into that when people see a TikTok than you think to make it not look like crap. So,
Right.
but yeah, I think for them, that's where I seen everything happen. And also then they started getting that constant spin on Octane, and it was just like a catapult.
Yeah.
And bands like that, lottery winners. Like you look at Sleep Token. Sleep Token have been a band for years over here, right? And very few people knew who they were. In this past, year, 18 months? Now they're selling arenas, tours around the world in minutes when they go on sale.
Yeah.
It's lottery winners.
You never know, man.
Going back to the Sleep Theory though, I saw them at the Sonic Temple, and you mentioned, Kevin, the song. I mean, that song resonated, right? Like people write, a lot of people write songs, a lot of people write good songs, but to have one resonate like that, what's the wow? What's the it factor? What's the secret sauce? Who knows? But then they also kill it live. They sounded like the record. So
very important.
You can't leave that. You can't leave that part out. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. That was just one that just like when I said it, Lisa popped in on it. I mean, it once in a decade.
Yeah.
And it happened. I haven't seen that with any band, and I couldn't tell you how long.
I tell everybody overnight success, 10 years.
Exactly.
To do that.
Yeah. What was that? There was a video that came out right after that song started kind of climbing on Octane or whatever. I think they played one of those rock cruises.
Yeah.
Y'all remember that?
Shiprocked?
I couldn't remember which one it was specifically, but like the cell phone videos coming back from that, you could tell they destroyed that room that they were in. I mean, it was just a great performance. That's how you win fans. I mean, you led with that on when you came on, like delivering the emotion or however you put it, earlier.
Oh,
that's the truth.
Absolutely, man. We believe in that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, and they're a Memphis band. They're from Memphis. So anyways, let's move on. So how can anybody, if anybody's looking to find New Dilemma, what's the best way to locate you guys?
You can go to newdilemma.com, and there's links to everywhere there. Any of the socials, we're at New Dilemma Official. Streaming anywhere you listen to music, you type in New Dilemma and you're going to find us. Google New Dilemma, you're going to find us. We're everywhere.
Awesome.
I love it.
Well, we appreciate you joining us.
Thank you guys.
Look forward to having you November 16th at the Winter Storm. And,
awesome, man.
Looking forward to a fun night.
All right, man. We'll see you guys soon. And thanks for spending New Dilemma. We appreciate you guys.
Yes,
absolutely.
Thank you.
Have a great night, guys.